Coming up, a very special Walt Disney World news update. Disney presents
Beyond the Kingdoms. Today's episode of Beyond the Kingdoms is proudly sponsored by SmallWorldVacations.com, authorized Disney vacation planners. Their team of knowledgeable agents have been creating the magic for over 20 years, and they can book your next trip to Walt Disney World. Just visit their website to get a free quote. Small World Vacations, where the magic begins.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Sunday main show of Beyond the Kingdoms. Like always, I'm your host David, and today I'm reporting in with a special news update because we've got lots of stories since my last news show back in August. Today, I'm going to be covering some big changes at Epcot, some operational updates in terms of entertainment and transportation, and a look forward at the holiday season for 2019. If you're new to this channel, welcome, and make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that you never miss an episode. But since we've got so much to cover today, let's not waste any more time and jump right in.
Back at the end of August, we learned about a lot of new offerings coming to Epcot for the next few years, part of a big overhaul mainly in Future World. A glimpse into these upcoming attractions and offerings can now be seen inside a special preview center called the Epcot Experience. This is located inside the previous Odyssey building in between Test Track and the Mexico Pavilion, and it opened back on October 1st. Some of these new changes coming to the park include a big overhaul to Spaceship Earth. Disney has stated that most of the show scenes will remain the same, but there will be some big technological advancements to them, and we will once again get a new narrator and score. And since the attraction no longer has a corporate sponsor, Disney is going to tweak the story a little bit, moving away from the journey detailing advancements in communications to something a little bit more vague. The new version will focus on, quote, the power of storytelling. And many are hoping that there'll be some new show scenes added to the descent down from the top of the geosphere, replacing the Choose Your Future touchscreen sequence.
As of right now, we have no details as to when the attraction will close for this big overhaul, and for how long it'll be shut in that time. So my tip is, if you're visiting Epcot anytime soon, I would definitely make some time to ride this, because you never know when it'll be your last time experiencing this version of the attraction.
Another surprise for Epcot was the announcement of a new Moana-inspired walk-through garden called the Journey of Water. This will hopefully be a lush trail that will invite guests to meet and play with water. It sounds more like a heavily themed play area for kids to me, as opposed to an attraction. Journey of Water will be located roughly between the Seas with Nemo and Friends and the land, occupying the same space where the north side of Innoventions West stood, which is now currently being demolished. Don't worry, I'll have more details on this later. The final big surprise out of D23 was the announcement of a Mary Poppins attraction in the United Kingdom. Now, many fans suspected that a new country was going to be announced, so this really blindsided people. There are very little details on this one, and Disney is purposely keeping this one vague, I think. They've only officially stated the following. The United Kingdom will welcome the first attraction inspired by Mary Poppins. You'll step in time down Cherry Tree Lane, past Admiral Boom's house, then enter number 17, home of the Banks family, where your adventure will begin. It's not a lot right there, and the concept art is just as vague, only showing the exterior of the so-called attraction, and it's unclear if Disney will revamp some of the current buildings in the pavilion or extend the street somewhere. It's also worth noting that both Mary and Jack from the recent sequel are pictured here as well, signaling that this attraction will be based off of the newer film as opposed to the original. Again, we have no dates announced yet for this or the Moana walkthrough attraction. But if you want to learn more about the Epcot overhaul, including updates on the Play Pavilion, Gardens of the Galaxy coaster, and more, definitely check out this preview center. It certainly feels like Epcot could potentially have an exciting renaissance on the horizon. Along with the Epcot experience, Disney also debuted the temporary Epcot Forever fireworks show on October 1st, to some really mixed reviews. I got to see the show a few days after the premiere, and I must admit that it's not really my favorite. I wasn't necessarily sad to see Illuminations go because it felt very dated and it was time for an update. This new show in some way actually features more fireworks than Illuminations did and features a soundtrack perfect for those who missed the Epcot of the 80s. But there's something a little clunky about the show and it feels like pure fan service to a specific group of people. I didn't hate it, but I have no strong desire to see it again. The firework kites are certainly the coolest part of the show. I'm happy that this is a temporary addition and look forward to Harmonious in 2020.
If you're planning a trip to Epcot in the coming months, I have to warn you that there's a lot of construction walls around the park, specifically in Future World, because that's being broken up into 3 new themed neighborhoods, and some iconic structures at the center are completely being bulldozed down.
Future World West will become World Nature, while Future World East will become World Discovery, and the central spine will be called World Celebration, which will include a beautiful new structure where presumably the festival center for all of the Epcot events will be located. The top roof level, which will look like a garden in the sky, will also offer fireworks viewing once it opens. So when you visit, you'll see lots of walls in the center section of Future World, mainly around the Fountain of Nations, which is being leveled at the moment, and I'm sure more walls will go up in the coming months. Now, another big story over the last few weeks focused on Disney's newest form of transportation, the Disney Skyliner. I got to ride the gondolas on the first full day of operation after a day at Epcot and headed back to Pop Century. Now, I must admit that I'm not really scared of heights per se, but I don't do well on Ferris wheels or skyways like this one. The ride was very smooth and relaxing and a big change of pace from other transportation options, but it's a little bit nerve-wracking. If you're scared of heights, I really wouldn't recommend this one. Now, a few days after it opened, there was somewhat of a malfunction over at the Riviera station. Disney has not released many details on what exactly happened, but according to some, one of the gondolas malfunctioned when trying to hook onto the actual line when departing the station, causing gondolas behind it to collide on top of each other. No one was hurt from this incident, but guests aboard other gondolas on the line were stranded high up in the air for a couple of hours, leaving many to question how thorough Disney's evacuation process for the Skyliner really is. The system is now back up and running, but sometimes with various operating hours. So if you're planning to use the system in the near future, check with cast members on the latest status. And regardless if the Skyliner is open or not, please remember that all of the resorts on the line still offer a normal bus service to both Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios. And of course, who could forget that at the end of the summer, Galaxy's Edge made its East Coast debut at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I personally have visited 3 times since it opened, and I absolutely love it. But I must admit, food offerings are a little bit of a hit and miss. I have several videos covering this new land, including some tips and reviews of the food offerings, so make sure you check those out to learn some more.
All right, now before we jump into some big announcements happening around the parks, let's take a look at our regular vacation promo breakdown, seeing if you can save a little bit of money on your next Disney trip. Now, allegedly, some are saying that park attendance is lower than normal right now. I think that could be argued. Some have suspected that the opening of Star Wars Land scared some people away. And there's an argument to be made for those wanting to wait to book their next vacation until the resort's 50th anniversary in 2021, when a slew of new attractions are slated to open. So, in the meantime, Disney has been pushing out some interesting promos that we've never really seen before. So let's take a deeper look.
First up, my Florida residents can get 40% off the regular price of a 4-day ticket and 30% off a 3-day ticket. This is, of course, compared to ticket prices for non-Florida residents. Disney has also announced a new seasonal flex ticket for Florida residents only. You can get either a 3-day ticket priced at $249 for adults and $238 for kids, or a 4-day flex ticket priced for just $20 more. This one is a little bit different from a normal multi-day ticket in that it's one flat price. As some of you know, multi-day tickets right now have different prices based on the actual dates you visit. The seasonal flex ticket can be used on non-consecutive days between now and February 29th, 2020. There are blockout dates, however, between November 21st and 28th, which is the week of Thanksgiving, and again between December 18th and January 2nd, which are the busiest weeks of the year. Disney has also extended the booking window to reserve the Ultimate Disney Christmas Vacation Package. Now, this one is offered with very specific travel dates between December 21st and the 26th only. This is a 5-night stay that includes a 4-day park hopper ticket, 1 ticket to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, exclusive access to the attractions inside Pandora, a reserved viewing area for Epcot Forever, and a $50 Epcot dining gift card. Pricing for this starts at $199 per person per night, and this is offered only at Coronado Springs, Saratoga Springs, Animal Kingdom Lodge, and the new Riviera Resort. And one last interesting promo that I've never seen before is for those visiting in the new year, and it's called the Kid Size Package. This one essentially gives the kids in your party the Disney dining plan for free when you book a non-discounted 3-night package at select value hotels. So this means you have to get a full package including tickets, the room, and the dining plan for the adults in order to get the dining plan for free for the children. To score this promo, you must book by January 1st, 2020 for stays between January 1st and March 7th. If you have more questions about this or any offer, contact our preferred travel agent, Small World Vacations, for more details, and tell them Beyond the Kingdom sent you. There are plenty of other discounts and promos for Florida residents, pass holders, and even just regular guests visiting from out of the state. So visit their website today at smallworldvacations.com for a free, no-obligation price quote.
Alright, let's now look at some announcements that have been made over the last 2 months. And let's start with attractions, because once again, there's a lot to cover here.
Heading back to Epcot, we now know that there are several new films slated to open at the start of 2020. First, we have Awesome Planet at the Land. This will be a new IMAX film focusing on the beauty and nature of our planet. And this will be located on the higher level inside the pavilion itself when you first enter. The first of 2 new seamless Circle Vision screens will also debut over at the Canada Pavilion, with the new film Canada Far and Wide. And the Beauty and the Beast sing-along will finally debut, alternating performances with the Pressions de France. All 3 of these offerings will debut sometime in January 2020. I know that's not an exact date, but some are speculating that these will premiere at the start of the Festival of the Arts. We also now know that REMY's Ratatouille Adventure at the France Pavilion will now open in summer 2020. Again, no exact date on this one, and that can mean anything between Memorial Day and the start of Food and Wine. Over at Hollywood Studios, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway will finally open in spring 2020, and we recently got a little sneak peek inside the new attraction. Now, despite the opening of Galaxy's Edge just a few feet away, Star Tours remains to be open over in the Echo Lake section of the park. From a continuity standpoint, it really doesn't make sense to have a Star Wars-based ride outside of Batuu, but it looks like Star Wars isn't going anywhere anytime soon. As it's done with previous Star Wars film, the attraction will feature new planets in time for the premiere of Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. On December 20th, Star Tours will feature destinations seen in the new film, but Disney has not specifically stated which ones yet. Usually when these updates come with the release of a film, every ride on Star Tours will feature the new planet at the end of the experience, so that everyone can see it and enjoy. And then a couple of months down the line, it's pretty safe to assume that the attraction will return to its normal random sequence mode.
Now, while sticking to Disney's Hollywood Studios, let's transition into a look at entertainment announcements. First of all, at all of the parks, there have been some big changes when it comes to character meet and greet locations. And sadly, some fan favorite shows have now ended. But Disney has announced that something new is coming to Echo Lake.
Again, since Galaxy's Edge is now open at Hollywood Studios, there's no need for some other Star Wars offerings around the park. And Disney has announced that the theater that has been home to Path of the Jedi for a couple of years now will become a new Mickey Shorts theater. There are very little details on this one, other that it will tie into other new Mickey Mouse shorts and either open at the same time as Runaway Railway or slightly before. Over at the Walt Disney Presents exhibit by the entrance of Toy Story Land, guests will soon get to see a special preview of the upcoming Frozen 2 film. This is at the very end of the walkthrough exhibit and will start on November 5th. Jumping over to Disney Springs, Disney has now begun selling tickets for the new and upcoming Cirque show that will take up residence on the west side. The new show will be completely inspired by Disney animation and debut spring of 2020. Tickets cost between $69 and $169, and dates currently available start on Friday, March 20th. From there, the show will run every week from Tuesday to Sunday. Now, let's go back to the parks and talk about some characters, because a lot of the favorites have moved around. First of all, as you all know, the Epcot character spot recently closed, but so far this has only affected Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy. Baymax as well as Joy and Sadness are still meeting in their usual spot, but they will surely move in the future. Mickey and the gang have moved around the corner in a previous Innoventions building en route to the seas. And here you'll stand in one line to meet Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy all in their separate photo ops. Please note that FastPass Plus is no longer offered at this meet and greet, but that has definitely improved the wait times here. I've also simultaneously spotted the trio meeting guests over by the International Gateway entrance. This one's not listed on the map or anything, so this one could come and go at any moment. Winnie the Pooh is also now meeting guests inside Christopher Robin's room at the UK Pavilion. This made a comeback in August for pass holders, but it's now open to everyone. It's a terrific photo spot for the Pooh fans. And even though the Hakuna Matata dance party has officially ended at Animal Kingdom, guests can still meet Timon and Rafiki, because the pair are now meeting guests at the Discovery Island Character Landing. This is where Pocahontas used to meet fans, and she has moved over to the back end of the island near the entry bridge into Africa. And even though the Incredible Block Party has ended at Hollywood Studios, guests can still meet Edna Mode at the Edna Mode Experience. And finally, over at the Magic Kingdom, we again have some shuffling back to normal. Mickey is once again meeting Solo at Town Square Theater in his magician's costume, and Minnie has rejoined Daisy back over at Pete's Silly Sideshow. Pluto is now meeting guests in the tent right next door.
And while I'm on the subject, many have spotted these pesky camera boxes pop up at select character meet and greet locations. These are those automated cameras that would essentially replace PhotoPass photographers. Now, Disney has been teasing this on again and off again for quite some time now, and it's been met with some fair criticism. For example, over at the Magic Kingdom, it was recently noticed that the camera box popped up at the Mickey meet and greet over at Town Square Theater, but ever since, a photographer has once again popped up at this location. This has been a really tricky one to track, but I can say this. I took a trip to the parks very recently, and I got to meet Anna and Elsa at Epcot, all of the princesses at Fantasyland, and all three characters at the Star Wars launch bay. And I can confirm that there was only 2 occasions where these automated cameras were actually being used, and that was at Chewie and Darth Vader at the launch bay. For some reason, BB-8 still has a photographer. So, if you spot any changes regarding this topic, feel free to share it with us on social media at Beyond_Kingdoms.
Now, sadly, we've seen the end of a few fan-favorite entertainment offerings thanks to some budget cutbacks. Great Moments in History featuring the Muppets recently had its final performance over in Liberty Square. Over at Epcot, Mariachi Cobre presenting the story of Coco also ended recently, but the regular mariachi show continues. There's some talk that the Coco show will make a brief comeback for Dia de los Muertos, but it's unclear if it will remain. And over at Animal Kingdom, the fan favorite Burudika had its final performance over in Africa.
Alright, in better news, let's take a look at some of the upcoming events happening around the resort. We just got details on menus and dates on future Epcot festivals, reservations opening up for select holiday offerings, and a brand new event at one of Disney's water parks.
For the first time ever, another park besides Magic Kingdom will celebrate Halloween this year. On October 31st only, Disney's Typhoon Lagoon will have a special Halloween celebration. The water park will feature 3 trick-or-treat trails, a Halloween Dole Whip, a pumpkin carving contest, and guests can meet Mickey and Donald in their pirate costumes by the big clock tower. The water park will also feature some fall-themed food offerings from now until November 23rd, and to be clear, there's no special ticket for this event. It'll be included in your normal park entrance ticket on Halloween. Over at Magic Kingdom, Disney has brought back Early Morning Magic and announced additional dates for Disney After Hours. These 2 special ticket add-ons are very popular and a great way to get on popular attractions without waiting in line. Early Morning Magic gives guests exclusive access to select Fantasyland rides, such as the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, before the park opens to regular guests, and it includes breakfast at Cosmic Rays in Tomorrowland. This one is now priced at $89 for adults and $79 for kids 3 to 9, and it's offered on select mornings between November 13th and April 21st. Disney After Hours has been added to the calendar at Magic Kingdom on November 18th, December 9th, as well as January 6th, 13th, 17th, and 20th. I attended the Villains After Hours event this past summer, which is similar but with extra entertainment offerings. So if you want a review of the experience, check out this video. Disney After Hours has also been extended over at Animal Kingdom between now and March 26, 2020. And this one, of course, will provide exclusive access to the attractions inside Pandora and more. As of right now, After Hours is only offered at these two parks. Moving on over to Epcot, we now have all of the menus for the holiday kitchens at this year's Festival of the Holidays, and the complete lineup of the celebrity narrators for Candlelight Processional. Stay tuned in the coming weeks when I provide you guys with a full guide to the event this year. But back to Disney's Animal Kingdom, we have something brand new for New Year's Eve. For the first time, guests can ring in the new year inside the park, which will include DJ dance parties in Asia, Dinoland, and Discovery Island. And even though there'll be no fireworks, guests can count down to 2020 with the special projection show on the Tree of Life. And this brings us to the start of the new year, to the Festival of the Arts. Right now, we don't have details on food menus or entertainment lineup, but this Epcot favorite will run in 2020 from January 17th to February 24th. And that will be immediately followed by the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival, which will run from March 4th to June 1st.
Now let's move on to everyone's favorite topic, food news. There are tons of new dining locations opening up soon around the resort, several dining events coming for the holidays, and if you're a vegetarian or vegan, Disney has just announced a huge expansion to their plant-based food offerings.
Just last month, Disney announced that, quote, hundreds of plant-based dishes are coming across the resort. In fact, the goal is to have these alternative options at all major quick service and table service restaurants. Disney will now also introduce a new green leaf icon on the menus so that guests can easily identify these new plant-based options. I'll leave a link in the description below for more details. And don't worry, I'll be spending the next few weeks sampling as much of it as I can so that I can share with you some of my favorites. Over at Epcot, we of course got lots of new food news. Coral Reef Restaurant at the Seas has debuted a new menu inspired by The Little Mermaid, which will celebrate its 30th anniversary later this year. New items include a dingle hopper cocktail, a lobster seafood boil, and King Triton's key lime tart. We've also learned that a new gelato kiosk will open at the Italy Pavilion, replacing the current kiosk near the main shop. This food stand will be run by the Patina Group, which also runs the pavilion's table service restaurants. At the American Adventure, we still have no official opening date for the Regal Eagle, a new quick-service smokehouse that will feature craft beer. Right now, Disney has only stated that it will open later this year. And the same mystery is happening over at Mission Space, where the new table service restaurant called Space 220 will be located. Disney announced the official name of this restaurant back at D23 and explains that the restaurant is located 220 miles above the Earth. Sadly, we still don't have any menus, and all we know right now is that it'll open this winter. Now, over at Animal Kingdom, we do have some more concrete details on dining offerings for the holiday season. Circle of Flavors Harambe at Night will be returning to Africa this December, and reservations are now open. This special progressive dining event will take place on Wednesdays from December 4th to April 15th. Also for the winter season, the Animal Kingdom Food Sampler is coming back. This is essentially a digital food gift card that you can use to purchase snacks and food offerings around the park. The real advantage of this is that when you purchase the $50 card, you're given an additional $10 bonus gift card that you can use after 4 p.m. at Pizzafari, Flame Tree Barbecue, and Satuli Canteen, and get reserved seating for the second showing of Rivers of Light. The trick is that while you can use the $50 card around the park starting now, the $10 digital bonus card and the reserved seating can only be used between December 22nd and January 4th. So this is only worth it if you're traveling during the busy week of Christmas and New Year's. Over at Hollywood Studios, Minnie's Holiday Dine will begin on November 8th. The holiday version, of course, includes a menu that consists of holiday staples like roast turkey and stuffing, and Minnie and the gang are all dressed in their holiday gear. And if you're enjoying the holiday offerings at Hollywood Studios this year, reservations are now open for the Jingle Bell Jingle Bam Dessert Party, which will have a new location for 2019. This year, guests will enjoy the all-you-can-enjoy dessert and drinks around Echo Lake, which features some great vintage decor and the park's Christmas tree. From there, guests will then be escorted in front of the Chinese Theater to watch both Wonderful World of Animation and Jingle Bell Jingle Bam. Now, pricing for this changes depending on the exact days you attend, but it ranges from $89 to $99 for adults and $53 to $59 for kids 3 to 9. And finally, the mobile food order service has been expanded to 5 new resort hotel locations. Guests grabbing a bite at Captain Cook's at the Polynesian, Artist Palette at Saratoga Springs, Landscape of Flavors at Art of Animation, Riverside Mill Food Court at Port Orleans Riverside, and Gasparilla Island Grill at the Grand Floridian can all use the new order service on the My Disney Experience app.
And let's round out the news update today with a look at refurbishments currently scheduled for the parks here in Florida.
Let's start at Epcot because, like I've stated before, there's a lot changing around this park. Some good news here is that the new tram drop-off point has now opened. Guests arriving by car will once again be able to take the tram from their vehicle to the front entrance of the park. A new security bag check area has opened underneath the monorail station, replacing the side tents that have been previously used. Now, inside Future World, in what will eventually be called World Celebration, we have some minor stores closing down. The Camera Center is currently closed for a refurb and will soon be the new home to Pin Central. The shop is scheduled to reopen on December 7th. The Art of Disney store will soon close in Future World and move over to the American Adventure. Now, the closing date seems to be pushed back a little bit and will possibly shut forever on January 1st. The new location will replace the Heritage Manor store by the American Adventure Kidcot Station. Test Track will shut down in January for a long refurb, currently scheduled from January 13th to February 26th. Over at the France Pavilion, Impressions de France is currently not showing, presumably to accommodate adjustments for the upcoming Beauty and the Beast sing-along. Currently, Impressions de France should reopen on January 1st. Over at the Magic Kingdom, Astro Orbiter has finally reopened after a long and unexpected refurb over in Tomorrowland. And we've learned a few new updates for 2020 and beyond. First of all, the Walt Disney World Railroad will continue to be closed, possibly until the Tron Coaster opens in 2021. There's no official scheduled reopening date in the calendar right now. Over in Frontierland, Splash Mountain will close for its regular annual refurb in January. However, I believe it'll be slightly longer than normal this year, closing on January 6, 2020, and scheduled to reopen for guests on February 28th. And over at Animal Kingdom, Primeval World has still not reopened after unexpected downtime, and we've now learned that it will go into seasonal operation. But Disney has yet to publish any opening dates for the attraction. Well guys, that just about does it for this special October news update. But don't worry, we've got lots to look forward to in November and December. We've got Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, Flurry of Fun, and the new Animal Kingdom Winter Festival, all debuting on November 8th. Festival of the Holidays at Epcot will debut a little later this year on November 29th. And who can forget that we've got 2 big openings in December, with Rise of Resistance opening at Hollywood Studios on December 5th, and the new Riviera Resort will welcome its first guests on December 16th. Now, while I'll be covering the holiday events as normal this year, I have a little surprise coming in December, covering a brand new holiday event for Beyond the Kingdoms. But stay tuned next week because a biggie is coming, the 2019 guide to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. You won't want to miss it. But until next time, remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.